And welcome to this special edition of Studio 5. This week we're giving you a seat at the table of the chosen Last Supper.
By what authority are you doing these things? My own!
Follow the final week of Jesus' life on earth.
I ask that you keep your distance from me in Jerusalem these next few days.
See the work it takes to recreate this sacred time for the screen. And feel the emotion behind the storylines that unfold in The Chosen Season 5. And when it comes to feeling the emotion behind the storylines, the most powerful ride is with Jonathan Roumie, who plays Jesus. Studio 5 was the first to interview him before the series even began. He's catching us up now to where Jesus is in Season 5 and where he's headed in the remaining 2 seasons.
Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem.
You can run on for a long time.
My house shall be called a house of prayer, but you make it a den of thieves!
How are you feeling as we're beginning to see Season 5, but I know you and Dallas are talking Season 6 already. How are you feeling?
I'm getting there. It's just the beginnings. We just got scripts recently, so with all the press stuff, it's been hard to focus completely. So there's just been a lot going on. Also personally, it's been I think it's actually been quite appropriate to what I'm about to go through. So the Lord is unmistakable in his design of everything, really.
The world is changing, and Jesus offers a vision to redeem it.
He's not the Messiah!
Tell him that God's gonna cut you down.
Jesus in Season 5, what's the emotional journey like? I've only seen the first few episodes, but I literally feel like I saw Jesus sad, joyful, and angry all in those. What's that emotional
It
journey
is
like?
the widest variety, the largest gamut, the most colorful rainbow of emotional expression we've ever seen, and also never seen from Jesus before. It truly runs the gamut, and it's essentially, I mean, it's his last stand before the inevitable. So Season 5 starts on a real high note, entering into Jerusalem. The crowds are adoring him, they're worshiping him, they're waving palm branches, they're cheering him on. And 5 days later, they're cheering for his crucifixion. They're against him, half of them are against him, and they've been turned by a few rotten eggs in the bunch, rotten apples, I think, and I think that would be appropriate. And next thing you know, he's nailed to a tree, to a cross. So how we get from the highest high to the lowest low is the journey of Season 5, and it's done in a way that only the chosen can do it.
Sooner or later, gotta cut you down.
We have a problem. Jesus operates entirely outside our jurisdiction.
How would you describe Jesus' relationship with those chosen in this season, though, the disciples and Mary? How's his relationship?
I mean, his relationship is great. He knows their hearts, he knows their flaws, he knows their needs and their desires, and so he knows what's going to happen, and he knows how it unfolds. He knows it's going to be really difficult for all of them, and he tries to warn them.
I ask that you keep your distance from me in Jerusalem these next few days.
Why?
He tries and tries, and it's all over scripture, and it can get frustrating when it's like, you know, he's like, oh gosh. But he loves them, and he loves them to the very end, quite literally. And I think recognizes that it'll be rough for a few days, but on the 3rd day, it's gonna be okay.
The hour is coming.
Jonathan Roumie made some pretty fun headlines for his first appearance on NBC's Tonight Show. There we learned he got his start as a voice actor on the MTV clay animation series Celebrity Deathmatch. Now again, the third installment of The Chosen is in theaters right now. Still ahead in our extensive behind-the-scenes look at The Chosen Last Supper. We're sitting down with the series creator and director, Dallas Jenkins.
It is a cornucopia of emotions, and I think this reflects the totality of who God is.
What is it about this character you most like?
Oh, that's such a good question.
Yeah, this season is growth and pain.
I was excited that we had bigger tools this year than ever, bigger sets this year than ever.
They know Dallas Jenkins is gonna probably want to continue this story, so
the detail that they got into and some of the things that you had heard, but being able to see that visually and seeing it maybe at a deeper level.
I think it's believable. I think Dallas always talks about what would be plausible if there is, a couple of disciples that are named Sons of Thunder, and then, they grow.
What I love about The Chosen is that we tell the same stories, but in the chosen way.
You as the viewer are going to be personally, intimately moved by what's happening.
Welcome back to this Chosen Last Supper edition of Studio 5. The Chosen began as a short film. It was called The Shepherd, written and directed by Dallas Jenkins back in 2017. Well, it is a lot bigger production now, and Dallas Jenkins is still the mastermind, digging through the pages of Scripture to bring the series to screen.
Listen carefully, because I'm going to tell you what is about to happen.
With every season, it gets bigger and bigger. How do you handle that as it continues to grow?
It's still the same process. I'm still a guy on a couch with my laptop with my co-writers writing the season. When we're on set, it's a group of artists and friends who are trying as best we can to capture authentically the story of Jesus. But ultimately, and I think you'll see this when you watch the episodes, no matter how big the story gets and the backdrop gets, it's still about the intimacy.
Do you have any idea what that was? I've never seen him do anything like that.
Ultimately, I'm like, no matter how big this scene is, even the turning of the tables in the temple, our biggest, most dramatic scene we've done, I've still got to be checking in on the people involved. Where are they at in their journey? What are they thinking? How does this affect their relationship? How does this affect their friendship? How does this affect their understanding of who Jesus is?
I think we should be very clear about something. He did not strike any person or animal in the market.
Are you crazy?
We know that Judas is the one who betrays Jesus. How did you approach that character to not paint him as just a villain?
Yeah, no, I think that's where the beauty of having multiple seasons to set him up. I absolutely believe that Judas was someone who believed in Jesus, who believed in his brothers. We saw him in the Gospels, along with the other disciples. They healed, he preached with authority, he cast out demons. Clearly he was a believer. So Luke Dimian and I certainly talk about what are the things that a first century Jewish follower of Jesus would have expected, and what happens when those expectations are upended. And I think there's a lesson for us to learn to look back on that and go, when we don't understand something, can we still trust and have faith? Or when we don't understand something, are we going to reject it?
How can we defend both his behavior and words?
Are you saying you wouldn't defend him?
This week, there's a chance for the Messiah to unite all of our people. Everyone is listening to him, and he just made even more enemies.
But this particular season was meant for the big screen, correct?
Oh yeah, well, visually speaking, if there's ever a season that you need to see on the big screen, it's this one.
The hour is coming.
We got the turning over the tables of the temple, we got the triumphal entry, we got the Last Supper, we got the betrayal of Judas. These are big things, big themes. It demands to be seen and heard in a room with other people who are going to laugh and cry together. And already the people who've seen these first couple episodes are like, oh wow, this is big, this is epic.
Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees! Stop this at once!
The world is changing, and Jesus offers a vision to redeem it.
We are, of course, approaching crucifixion, resurrection. What are your conversations right now like with Jonathan Roumie, who plays Jesus?
We want to be pointing people to Jesus in this time, but at the same time, we have to find the humanity of it, the relationships of it, the authenticity of it. And so we're just working through what we always do, which is, all right, I, Jonathan, am not God. How do I find the divinity in this, even though I'm not God? But more importantly, how do I find the humanity in this of the man that I worship?
I'd like to be alone as I take it in. I'll come back to the house after dark. I just need a moment.
If you had to quickly summarize this season, how would you do that?
I would say intensity for sure. This is the most intense season we've ever had. But there's also, we get to kick a little butt this season. Season 4 was pretty sad. Season 6 is going to be the most devastating, obviously, season we've ever done. Season 5, it is a cornucopia of emotions. And I think this reflects the totality of who God is, which I think is really cool. I think sometimes we put him in a specific box. He's the kind, gentle, maybe hippie Jesus, or he's the law and order justice Jesus. He's all of those things in this season. I think that's really exciting to explore.
Have you seen his hand at work through you as you're doing this day in and day out?
Oh, 100%. Ephraim, I'm not this good. I'm not capable of doing a show that's had this much impact around the world. So that's really easy. The very fact that we're talking about season 5 is evidence that God's hand has been in this, because I'm just not good enough to get us this far. Certainly not on my own. And so it's very, very humbling. Our egos get smaller the bigger this show gets.
And now look back at me and cut.
In addition to the final 2 seasons of The Chosen, Dallas Jenkins is at work on the animated series The Chosen Adventures and several other spin-offs from The Chosen universe. Still to come, we are sitting down with George Xanthus, Noah James, and Shahar Isaac, the actors playing the role of Jesus' disciples.
These disciples had no idea what was going to happen.
Welcome back to The Chosen Last Supper edition of Studio 5. They're the men closest to Jesus as he walked out the final week of his life. George Xanthus plays the role of John, Noah James is Andrew, and Shahar Isaac is Simon Peter.
Do you have any idea what that was? I've never seen him do anything like that, ever. Well, has anyone seen any physical aggression of any kind?
Each of you guys have lived with these characters for a little bit. How would you say they have evolved up to now in season 5? Where do we find each of them?
It would be easy to just give us these characters in their finished form, and I think that's the success of the show, is we bring these characters that we know are on the stained glass windows and bring them down to eye level within touching distance. And so John, it would be easy to have him as the beloved disciple, or the disciple of love instantly, but instead the show kind of charts a path from him to be this zealous, very emotional and passionate disciple who means well, but Jesus teaches him to channel that righteousness, channel that passion for righteous reasons. And in season 5, we see kind of the peak of that journey, just where I think John is like, oh, I think this is where I need to channel my energy. And he's starting to understand what's happening. We were asked to use like one word for like this season for your character. And for John, it was something along the lines of acceptance or even awareness.
Another servant he sent. And him they stoned to death.
I think it's so fun to see growth and a character arc that doesn't look like this, but it looks like that. And that's how I feel with Andrew. And I love trying to portray that and bring that to life, because I feel like I feel that in my life. And I think so many of us feel growth and our journey like that, and like scribbling. And then you're like, oh, I ended there, but you can't draw it like that. And definitely season 4, there was a lot of growth in Andrew, a lot of feeling like I had to grow up. And then season 5, it's put to the test. And sometimes when you are put to the test, you are confronted with the reality of where you really are in your journey. And Andrew for sure is confronted with where he is at, and the difficulty of sort of seeing this Holy Week, the circumstances with clear eyes, because it feels like the world is falling in around us.
Everything you just told us, which included our deaths and the end of the age, and not even you know when. Only the Father.
It's now is a moment of confusion. There was growth in the right direction for my character. And then at some point, at this point, seeing what happens during this season and hearing what is about to happen leaves me in this ephemeral plane where I really don't know where it's going and what's going on. And I have to admit that this is a little bit the theme of this season, seeing what happens in the market with the tables turning. That's a level of violence, which is something new that I have not seen in what we were doing up until now. And that's pretty shocking, and that leaves me pretty bewildered.
What are you doing?
So in season 5, I want you guys to finish this statement. In season 5, I am most excited for audiences to see
the big screen and the photography work and camera work that is gonna mesmerize people.
I am most excited for people to see The Last Supper. That was something that was really special to film. We filmed that for 6 days straight, all day, sitting in the same chairs. And there was something about entering into the space again at the start of the day and sitting, and you were right here to my left, and we go, here we are again. And there was something just really mesmerizing, I think, about putting that on film. And I'm really excited to see that all come together.
The triumphant entry. I just think that it's something that we kind of forget about. It is the start of this week, and in Easter celebrations, you know, that moment is kind of at the start of the week is a reminder of how excited people were at that moment, but then it's juxtaposed with the Last Supper and obviously what ends up happening to Jesus. So it reminds you that they had no idea, these disciples had no idea what was going to happen that week. Seeing the journey to get to those iconic moments is where the show finds its success. That's why people love the show.
I love you too, John.
Still ahead, our sit down with Paris Patel and Elizabeth Tabish, or should I say, Matthew and Mary Magdalene.
You know, Matthew has made Paris such a better person. The portrayal of Matthew.
Welcome back to this Studio 5 special look at The Chosen's 5th season. In the last 5 years, Elizabeth Tabish and Paris Patel have seen their characters change or grow closer to Jesus in his final week on earth. She plays Mary Magdalene and he plays Matthew.
I did that at the end of the season. I think this is a celebration.
Cut. Fill in the blank for me from both of you. In season 5, I am most excited for audience to see blank. What is it?
Jesus flipping tables.
I think we should be very clear about something. He did not strike any person or animal in the market.
I am so excited for everyone to see The Last Supper.
How would you compare what we see on screen in The Last Supper to what you probably grew up thinking about, or reading scripture and you have your mind's eye of what you think it looks like? How would you compare what we see on screen to what you thought?
Whatever we grew up thinking or how we visualized it isn't in a beautiful way. The Chosen does something different. You're like, oh, I never thought of it this way. And it's really cool. It kind of blows your mind a little bit. So that's why I'm saying I think that moment is going to be a very amazing one.
Because I'm going to tell you what is about to happen.
How would you describe Mary's relationship with Jesus? Some may say she gets it when those who are at the table don't get it.
Possibly. I mean, I think she has a perspective because she is one of the few, maybe the only one of his followers that has been directly healed by him. So there is a very intimate gratitude for him because he has completely changed her life in a way that she couldn't have done really without him. And so she wants to take care of him too, the way he's taking care of everyone else and healing everyone else. I think she and the other women really want to make sure he's okay.
Yeah.
And this season, it's very difficult to witness that sort of being an impossibility.
Okay, camera set.
Camera set.
And action.
Personally, for both of you, what have these characters meant to you? I mean, we're literally now sitting here, only 2 seasons left.
Yeah. You know, Matthew has made Parr such a better person. The portrayal of Matthew, I think it's really rare to find a character, portray a character as an artist that really creates this synergy of passion meeting purpose, and to really feel like I'm doing what my calling is something that's like irreplaceable. But I also feel like Matthew's a character that's gonna live with me forever, you know, just like the show will live beyond us. But yeah, it's one of those full circle moments as we know we're getting near the end.
Mary really represents what I think true growth looks like. And it's not just this overnight thing, even though she is healed by Jesus in this one instant. It's messy. Growth is messy, and transformation takes a long time. And it takes like trying and making mistakes and trying again and making less mistakes. Yeah. And, you know, it just takes patience and getting to portray Mary over all of these years and seasons and get to witness her growth has been really lovely, because there's this almost like this permission that she is gifted that like you can change too, and you can let go of your fears too, you can let go of your trauma too, like you can move forward. And so that's something that's with me, but also continues to change each season. It keeps transforming, and it's kind of I'm curious about where it's going.
Yeah. Speaking of growth, let's talk about the series, the production itself. It's so much bigger than where we began.
Yeah.
When you're looking back, what do you think? I mean, streaming now, I mean, major motion picture partnerships, released in the...
It's crazy.
It's wild.
It was such we just did 4 episodes for season 1, and we had no idea if we were going to get financed for the last 4 episodes for season 1. Yeah. And then suddenly it just feels like, oh, we're known around the world, and people know of The Chosen, and they love The Chosen, and it's definitely not an overnight success. But sometimes it feels that way.
Yeah, it's a great underdog story.
It is, yeah.
Again, the 3rd installment of The Chosen is in theaters now. Then in June, you can watch the entire season on the Prime streaming platform. You've got time for just one more thing. We want to give the final word to Jesus, as in actor Jonathan Roumie. If you could take me on set with Jonathan, so you're on set, ready to work, how do you prepare? Is there a ritual? What happens?
The only ritual I would say that I have is that I'm always praying before I go into every scene. At times, depending on how difficult the scenes are, I may be praying before takes. And I'm doing that not to look self-righteous, but because I can't go anywhere to pray in private. So I have to be there and surrounded by people, and we're on a time crunch, and we've got, 25 setups to do in 12 hours, which in film language basically means a lot to shoot in a little amount of time to shoot it. So I have to just, be there with the Lord every moment I can get, and whether it's in front of everybody or in front of 2 people, I'm just asking for wisdom and guidance, and knowing the lines also helps too. So that helps.
Jonathan Roumie, thank you. That is a great final word for this Chosen edition of Studio 5. Until next time, make time to uplift someone around you, and then please come on back and see where Studio 5 takes you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching.